Obviously, the most evident of, as I said, these non-state actors is the RSF, which has been, locked in a conflict with SAF, rivaling it over this control of the state. However, another form of non-state actor, another type of non-state actor at the level of civil society is the growth of organic grassroots bodies. So one example, obviously, is the resisting committees. The resisting committees are important because they provide a political agenda and a project that has pushed the idea of change beyond, the standard concept of a civic transition or good governance in the traditional way. And their importance as effective state actors continues to play a huge role, or continues to demonstrate itself as important, as necessary as we move forward in this current war period. I mean, mutual aid groups that grew out of the resisting committees are perhaps the first and only on the ground first responders, providing all sorts of humanitarian intervention and community support in the absence of the international community as well as the state. Now, an important point to make about the resistant committees back in the period between 2019 and 2023 until the war kind of erupted, and their current predecessors, which are the mutual aid groups. What's really interesting about them is that they are engaged in a process of state building, like a serious one. In this current, obviously, there are so many examples that we intend to touch upon in the course, but in this particular junction during the war, just one example of how they're engaged in state building is that they are resisting the polarizing war discourse through community-based responses, and they're holding belligerents accountable to the atrocities they're committing, while also adapting their political discourse to the developments of the day. And these are huge, political actions and activities in the context of war. This is not a small feat that they're engaged in. Most importantly, and this is based on some recent research me and a Sudanese colleague are engaged in, that they're invested, these mutual aid groups at the level of the community, they're invested in self-help mechanisms in order to build resilience against conflict. And they're doing this by setting up micro-industry in areas cut off from global markets. So survivalism in the context of Sudan, as done by these groups, is developmentalist in its approach. So again, many moments of disintegration, but also there are features of state building. The question is now, how can, we as Sudanese, whether, in the near diaspora or the far diaspora or on the ground, international community or others who are involved, who are interested in Sudan. The question is, how can we capitalize on state building, on these, features of state building to ensure advocate intervention as we move forward.